I didn't know what was going on with me. I was breathing heavy. And then I had a mental breakdown. I freaked out. I completely freaked out. And I'm breathing heavy. My friend, my bandmate, my person who was in my music is in the next, and was my neighbor, my next door. I told Sherbil, something's wrong with me. I can't stop breathing heavy. Complete panic. And I don't know why. Also, the doctor said could be fibromyalgia. It could be all in my head. And I was literally thinking that this might be all in my head. And I'm gone. Like, I'm far gone from sanity, that there's no going back. So I literally broke down.
Hovannes, how did you find Carnivore?
Well, Mr. Dave, it's a very interesting story, and actually, because I've been listening to most of the stories, this is why I emailed you, because I heard most of the stories, and a lot of them are very interesting and unique, and people's experiences and stuff. But I realized, because I was watching you for a good year, but then I was like, you know what, Hovannes, your stories like can really help people, because my angle doesn't come from like weight and and not necessarily food-driven problems per se. So this is why I thought like people should know that there's another angle to the recovery that meat and carnivore does. This is why I was very interested in talking to you. So let me begin. So anyways, I'm a musician. I've been fighting for this for a long time. I do music production, I do film scoring, and all that jazz. Long story short, because I can go on for like hours about that story, but like long story short, my father was a doctor, and he was totally against this idea. Like he wanted me to do anything except being a musician. So anywho, certain things happened along the way. When I was 27, 28, finally my father changed his tune. And he was like, okay, what do you need? I was like, Father, I got accepted to a big college in America, Los Angeles Film and Music, and it's like pretty expensive, but I've been working as a waiter for months now, and almost 2 years, and I've gathered some money. I lived like a monk. And I was like, I want to go, but it's not enough, because you have to live there, and Los Angeles is expensive to live there, and we don't come from a necessarily rich country, because I was in Lebanon. Now I'm in Armenia. So and he was like, okay, I'll do half, you'll do half, and off we go. And I was like, great, I've been waiting for this for a decade. I've been fighting with my father, fighting with everybody, like I want to do this for a living. The day comes, awesome. I get in the plane, I get there. A day and a half passes by. My uncle comes, I never forget it. And he says, like that, he says, your father had a heart attack. And I was very, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what I was, but I was something. So basically, I got to America after a 17-hour flight, stayed there for less than 20 hours, and got back on the plane and went back home. I got there, and it turns out they were lying to me. They just didn't want to, like freak me out more than it should be. My father already had passed when they said he had a heart attack. So he didn't have a heart attack, but he automatically passed. He passed in like 2-3 hours. So what was interesting about this fact is that a week before that, my grandfather, my father's father, had passed away. We were at his funeral. And that's when my father also emotionally was down, and his health wasn't the best. He had some arrhythmia. He was taking some heart medicine. I don't know what it was. Honestly, I don't know. I remember the medicine that he was taking. but he wasn't good. And when he used to go up the stairs, you can feel like he's out of breath, you know, and stuff like that. But we didn't think it was something crazy serious, you know, like not 5 weeks later, maybe 10 years later or 5 years later. So anywho, so my grandfather died a week. Then a week later, my father passed away. My grandfather had a stroke. My father had the heart attack. And basically, theoretically, if you think about it, my dream also died the same day. Because all of this excitement that finally I'm going to get to do this and all that stuff. And it just evaporated because all the money I had to go to insurance and his job and their stuff and, you know, and payments and the funeral. And so most of the money I had just went. And plus, obviously, my father had passed away. So it was a very dark place. And to give a backlight to the story, I was a heavy drinker. Like I didn't drink often. But when I drank a lot. And usually nothing happened to me. It's like genetics. My father was the same. My sister is the same. Like, we don't necessarily get drunk or vomit or puke or like the next day hangover. But whenever I used to drink a lot. Like 12, 13, 14 glasses of vodka or whatever it may be. Yeah, so when my father passed away, I was like, you know what? Father passed away, heart attack, you know, he wasn't the most healthiest person. He was kind of obese, not very obese. He was tall, 186, like 6'1", and he was about 125 kilos, something like that. Not major obese, but not like in tip-top shape either. And I was like 97 at the time, 98. I'm the same height, 97, 98 kilos. So anywho, I was like, okay, you know what, Tawfiq, you have to change your life. You got to cut down the alcohol, you know, do that. Because look at your father. He's a you know, representation of all of this. So I went to the gym. I got a personal trainer, and, you know, and I was like, okay, I'm going to change my life. The third week, until this time, I'm a regular drinker. I'm a regular smoker. I eat I'm not going to say the standard American diet from the videos that you've watched, because honestly, I was in America a year later than this, and the American food is really toxic. Like, you know, like there's degrees of junk in life, you know, like how you can, you know, cause toxicity in your system by eating food. So the American foods are much more toxic than I'm assuming anywhere else, because I've never felt what I felt in America in the toxicity level. So I can say I was an omnivore instead of saying the standard American, you know, like diet. A bit of junk here, a bit of junk there, but nothing crazy. You know, maybe 2 weeks at McDonald's or something, but nothing steady. So I'm trying to clean up my life, be better. You know, I'm also very upset and in a mild depression because, you know, my father's in here and all that. And my mom lost her, you know, lost her mind. That was very hard. So yeah, second year of the personal trainer, and he was on the phone and he was giving me an exercise to do, and I was doing the exercise up and down, up and down, up. I never forget it because this is where my actual life changed. Up and down, and I'm telling him, is this enough? He's like, yeah, continue, do a couple of more reps. And I'm like, okay, fine. And then I heard a sound and a feeling that I've never heard, that I've never felt or heard before in my life. And at the moment, I didn't know what it was. But the next day, I found out that I herniated my disc. My L5, L6, something, whatever. So the entire mushy thing inside went out. So, and I continued, by the way, I continued. What's funny is that I continued working out that day. You know, and the trainer was like, yeah, it's just, you know, it's just pain because, you know, you're soft and stuff like that. And I was like, and it hurts. It really hurts. And I finished the set. I can't believe I went there. The next day I woke up. It was horrible pain. Like, I've never experienced such a thing. And I've done 3 surgeries you know, and with mild anesthesia, and nothing compared to that pain. So I'm in agony. I'm in complete agony. And I'm telling my mom, but my mom is delirious because of my father's death. So she's not even there. So I'm basically alone. And I'm like, I need to go to the hospital or something. I don't know what's wrong. I didn't know, by the way, at the time it was a herniated disc. All I know that this is not normal. Like whatever this is not a normal sensation. So I'm panicking, I'm panicking, I'm panicking. Nobody's listening to me. Everybody, my sister, God bless her, she had a lot of responsibility at the time because she was like technically the working adult, you know, so she had to cover that. So nobody's hearing me and I'm just dying in pain. And 5 days, 6 days, it was even getting worse and worse. And I didn't know what I was going through even. So that's when I started actually drinking. Like my drinking often kind of idea, you know, because I'm going to be honest, it really helped with the pain, but I was just basically drinking every day. You know, I was drinking 4, 7, 8 glasses per day of vodka, you know, just normal, you know, so, and the pain was like limited, you know, so it was making me go. And plus, obviously, my career went all up in the drain. So I was trying to fix that. I was trying to find a way, I don't know, and I'm like a millennial, so I'm not into the social media thing a lot. So I don't know how to take my music and put it out there correctly and all that stuff. So I'm also getting very depressed and stuff. And I remember one day, 4 months later, and I got to a point where I was drinking around 1 liter of vodka per day. And by the way, I have no hangover, no nothing. I'm telling you, genetically, we don't have that. So I remember one day, just like any other day, we had a barbecue, but like not only meat, obviously everything that Lebanese, Armenian people eat, hummus and and stuff and all that stuff. I remember the next day I woke up and I had this neck pain. And my life, like, like Jesus Christ has BC and AD, like life has BC and AD style. That is my BC AD. So I know life before that day and I know life after that day. So I woke up and I had this neck pain. And I never had neck pain before. Maybe some soreness like normal people. I never had neck pain before, like this amount. And I started to breathe heavy. It was very heavy. I was breathing heavy. And I didn't know what was going on with me. I was breathing heavy. And then I had a mental breakdown. I freaked out. I completely freaked out. And I'm breathing heavy. My friend, my bandmate, my person who was in my music is my neighbor, my next door. I told Sherbil, something's wrong with me. I can't stop breathing heavy, complete panic. And I don't know why. Like, even when I'm talking about it right now, it's kind of making me anxious because it was very extreme. Like I've never had anxiety. I don't even know what the word anxiety was until that day. And the thing was that it started, Sir Dave, and it didn't stop. The next day was the same. The third day was the same. The fourth day was the same. The fifth day, the sixth day, the seventh day. And it was even getting worse. Like I couldn't talk to people. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I wasn't being able to eat anything. I was basically force feeding myself yogurt. I remember that day. Like I was fourth, fifth day. I have to put something in my mouth. I feel like I'm gonna faint. Like I got some. I remember yogurt with some olive oil, and some salt, and I was like just trying to, like the hospitals almost, and nobody was there. Like my father's gone, my mom's sanity is in stake, and she's not here. And my friend is into like Sadhguru shit, and he's like telling me, supernatural things and stuff, and making me freak out even more. I'm losing my mind here. I don't know what's going on. Nobody's telling me. So I'm like, you know what? I can't. It's been 10 days. I'm like, okay, my father, right? My father was a doctor, and he has doctor friends. Let me just start calling them, spamming them. So I called everybody. I'm like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And nobody can give me a direct answer. But I remember one of my father's friends, his name is Dr. Khachik, he's a very cool guy. He answered the phone and I told him what I'm going through. And he said, Hov, you know, Hov, if I'm not mistaken, you are going to alcohol withdrawal. And I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. He said, your brain has reached to a place where the dopamine, serotonin levels are so out of whack that your brain is lacking these chemicals to produce anymore, because you've been abusing this chemical imbalance for so long that now your brain can't handle any more shifting of these chemicals. So once you stop drinking alcohol, the last time you drank alcohol, because those 10 days I didn't drink because I couldn't even eat to drink. So the last 10 days that I wasn't drinking alcohol, my body was going into complete panic. And my brain was going all whooshy and this stuff. And this was a hypothesis on the phone. Anywho, I didn't know what to do. I was like, maybe that's it. So the first thing I did was I stopped alcohol. Like that was the first thing that I stopped alcohol. And Mr. Dave, I can honestly tell you, it was, I've watched a lot of movies, you know, and I never believed that in a way or form they were true, but they were kind of true because I don't have much experience in drugs. When I was a kid, I did some drugs, but like, I never liked it. I wasn't like this big fan. I was more of an alcohol guy. I like alcohol. So when I stopped it, it was basically horrible. I couldn't speak to anybody. I was basically scared from my own shadow. Like literally, sometimes I used to see a shadow and I used to like jump. I was that I don't know how to explain it. Agitated, like patience zero patience. Like I get angry fast, and if I couldn't watch movies because I used to watch movies and be scared all the time, like like, oh, the devil, oh, and all that. It was very, very bad. Anywho, so this is where the cool part is. So at that part, I was like, this is horrible. And I took some 10 days of benzodiazepine because the doctor prescribed me to ease the transition period, and the withdrawal of that was even something more interesting, which God knows they're all interesting. So in that moment, I was like, you know what, Ovik, okay, what can you do? Because I am a person with will and action. Like whenever I believe in something, I can do it. So, okay, I've heard that, right? This is where where almost everybody you've interviewed comes in, is that everybody has heard that, like vegetables are great and good. And I was about like, I lost a lot of weight by then, by the way. When I stopped alcohol, and that time I couldn't even eat that much, I went from 97 to about 72, 73. By the way, this is like 6 months in now we're talking about. I'm fast forwarding. So basically I started the vegetable thing. I love eggs. Eggs are by far my favorite thing in the world. By far. Nothing comes close to eggs for me. I can eat it every day, forever, all the time. I used to even ask this is what's so funny. I used to ask my mom, like bizarrely, like, Mom, why do I love eggs so much? Like, I don't get it. Give me a pizza, which is supposed to be delicious. I can eat, Friday, but Saturday, maybe Sunday, I can't eat it. I'll be like, pizza again, But eggs, I used to eat 22 eggs per day in my standard American diet life back then. I used to eat like 22, 18 regular, but I used to make like big pancake, like mushrooms, potato, ham, broccoli, and 22 eggs, and make a big thing, and I just eat it. So anyway, so when I started the vegetarian thing, thank God I can eat eggs. So that kept me sane, and mushrooms. I started doing that. I started losing much more weight. And God knows, Dave, God knows I'm eating like a monster. I don't know what other vegetarians lived. I have no idea because I don't know anybody else except me. But all I know, Dave, nobody can eat that much food. I used to get like half a kilo of zucchini, 300 grams of broccoli, 3 eggplants, 10 eggs, half a kilo of potato. Then I'm just eating. This was my life, eating. I'm like this. Even when I was doing it, I never believed, because I'm like, can anybody eat this much? Nuts, walnuts, every nuts, Dave, every nut. I used to get pumpkin seeds, hazelnuts, walnuts, peanuts, everything, organic, macadamia nut. Eat. I'm like, okay, maybe it's helping. I have no idea. Then, this is what's interesting, is that in 4 weeks, my hands and my feet started burning. Pins and needles, and flat out burning and electric shocks. I'm going to be honest, Dave. At this moment, I thought that I was losing my mind. Like, I literally thought that I reached insanity, and this is a development of insanity. So I'm telling my mom was better at this time. She was like, she can at least communicate. So I'm telling my mom, my hands are on fire and my legs are on fire. Like, what's going on? And it hurts, and it's even worse when I sleep. And I start just crying. I start to cry every day because I don't know what to do. And I'm doing this vegetable thing. And I went to the doctor eventually. My uncle, who's American Armenian, gave me money to go to the doctor. The doctors diagnosed me with alcohol neuropathy, which basically is similar to the effects of diabetes. Is that the nerves in your body are damaged because of alcohol. So it gives signs of basically diabetes, which is like numb hands and pins and needles and fire and all that jazz. So I'm like, but I stopped the alcohol. Why now? Stop this. And he's like, yeah, but it's not like 20 years of destruction. You're going to fix it in a couple of months. I'm like, maybe not. I still didn't believe them, by the way. There's something odd in that equation. So anywho, I continued this and all that. I started to go to yoga. Okay? Because I became very fragile. I was reaching Dave, all my life, I was 85, 90 kilos, easy. And that was healthy for me. 85, 90 is healthy. I reached 98, which was a bit more, but that was and 80 to 90 is my range. I was 68 kilos. I'm eating like a maniac every day, and I reached 68 kilos. My face, now you can see because we post all that, my face was like this. And I'm eating like a monster. None of it made sense. And I'm like, okay, fine. I went to yoga. Yoga helped. Like, yoga gave me a bit of power back, there's strength training and stuff. And I went to play basketball a couple of times. I got the courage, even if it hurts, even if it's fiery, I'm like, I got to do something, or, I'm going to lose my mind. I woke up one day, about 2 weeks later. I'm going to go to the grocery store to buy my usual eggs and zucchini and broccoli and carrots and all that. And my leg, my thigh here, right here, was like numbish. And I was like, maybe, I slept on it or something weirdly. It's possible. This was in Armenia already. And the more I was going to the grocery store, the more it was getting numb. It usually has to be the other way around. Like, the more you walk, the more it has to get less numb. And I was like, okay, this doesn't feel good. This feels unnatural. And by the time I got to the grocery store, my leg stopped working. Like, this is my leg, right? I had no communication to my feet. Like, if I tell my feet do this, there's no message being sent. There's like zero capacity.
Was that just one leg?
Yeah, the right one. The right one. So zero capacity. Like I'm talking to nothingness. And the upper part here is numb, but this part is numb and it's gone. Like I have no control over it. So I limped back home, and I honestly just sat there and started to cry. Because also the doctor said could be fibromyalgia, it could be all in my head. And I was literally thinking that this might be all in my head, and I'm gone. Like I'm far gone from sanity, that there's no going back. So I literally broke down. Thankfully, I met this lovely girl, which is my girlfriend to this day. At that time, it was still fresh. It was like we were 2 months, 3 months in, where she came, and if it wasn't for her, honestly, I'm not joking, Dave, I most probably would have killed myself. I was thinking about it for 2 days. I was like, this is not worth. I'm gonna cry now when I'm talking about it. Like, this is not worth it. I'm trying my best here, and everything is just getting worse. And I can't do my music. I'm not healthy. Everything hurts. I can't move my feet. You know what I mean? I still have that anxiety that's out of order. I've never had a good night's sleep since I don't know when. So I was gonna kill myself. I was literally thinking, like I was literally limping next to cars and just thinking, like, if I just go 10 meters in front, if the car hits me, what's the worst? You know, my mom's already upset, you know, and maybe she'll be a bit more upset, and that will be the end of it. She literally made me like hold it together. Let's put it this way. So thankfully, one of my dad's things is that he has a lot of connections in Armenia. And one of the connections he had, because he passed away, was that he knows like a big person here politically, which also has a hospital. So I thought about him directly. I'm like, this can't be solved by my power. I need to go to the big dogs, because this is just now we're reaching weird places. So I went to him, and I hadn't seen him in years, by the way. Like, he knew me as a kid. Like, I was 16 when he last saw me. Now I was 30. But when I got to the hospital and he saw me, and I told him, I'm not going to say his name, but I told him, my leg is not working. As soon as I said that word, I swear to you, like, that also made me feel good. The hospital froze. And he sent everybody for my care. And so everybody just, I wasn't expecting it. Like, everything just stopped. It's like a 25-floor hospital with 3,000 rooms. Like, everything just stopped. And anyways, they did like, I felt like a specimen. Like, they did every single examination, blood, urine, feces, serum, MRI from my back, my hernia. By the way, all this time, I still have the herniated disc, don't forget. But like that became like a passive thing because there's so much stuff. So yeah. So it turns out, this is where the first thing, it turns out that I have no vitamin B in my blood. Like, I had very low vitamin B. Now, this is what's so interesting. And this is where I did the mistake without knowing. It turns out that studies have been made in the last 10 years almost, that alcohol masks the consumption of vitamin B. It doesn't allow absorption correctly. So I was drinking so much, and then I went to veganism, which basically has no vitamin B12. So what happened? Whatever vitamin B12 I had that made the safety net from the alcohol, I slowed it down because I was a vegetarian. I'm not getting any more B12. So the nerves in my body just collapsed. So this is why my foot went completely numb and useless. So the neurosurgeon at the place was looking at me with no hope. He was like, I don't know, we're going to give you vitamin B12 shots for 10 days straight, and then you have to go and supplement. And then hopefully maybe 3-4 months later, you'll have some movement in your leg and you have to do certain exercises. And after that, we don't know. It can go that way, it can go this way. It was a very dim, like thing, that the way she said it to me. I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna try, obviously. So they gave me, every day I used to go to the hospital. They used to give me the shots, vitamin B, vitamin B, vitamin B. I started taking the supplements. And by the way, this time I had no at all information about nutrition. I'm saying this in retrospect. I'm saying this in hindsight. At the time, I wasn't like, alcohol, vitamin B, veganism, vitamin B. I had no idea of this. I know that I have a vitamin B issue, but I never thought that plants don't have it. So great, good. I started the shots. In a month, my legs start to kind of move, but hurts, numb, inflamed. Every day I used to put my feet up. I remember, again, my girlfriend, God bless her soul. If it wasn't for her, I could have done none of it. And okay. 3 months. I'm still, by the way, vegetarian. I didn't change. And I'm eating all this grass, loads of grass. I swear, I wish I would have. If I knew that you existed, I would just picture the amount of food I ate, because it was phenomenal. All that stuff. And my leg was kind of moving. In 4 months, it shifted. It gave some stuff, but it's still numb and inflamed. Fast forward, I don't want to talk about it much. Fast forward, the rent here, because there was the Russian-Ukrainian war, right? So the rent here got very expensive very fast, because I was renting a house. It was like around $300. I know it's, if you compare it to Japan and America, it's not a big deal, but you have to take the wages here into consideration. So it was like a $300 per month thing, and suddenly boomed to $800. Okay, in a matter of weeks, because 300,000 Russians came to Armenia. So, they had to give places, so everything went up in weeks. It was 300, 500, 800 in 2 weeks. Any place. So I was like, I can't do this. This is too much. So I actually retreated back to Lebanon. When I retreated back to Lebanon, here in my misery, I started researching. This is my first, YouTube, trying to look for answers, trying to understand what's going on. Because I was alone in Lebanon. I had no responsibilities. I had nothing, because I literally went back to my room when I was a kid, just making music and basically kind of waiting to die. Like that kind of, just trying to buy time and, So I saw ideas about the alcohol neuropathy and the vitamin B and stuff. I'm like, so that's why my vitamin B was out of whack, and I get this panic, because my nerves were just dying in my head, in my body. And I stayed in Lebanon for 3 months. Before the 3rd month, by 2 weeks, I stumbled, like everybody else, I stumbled upon the Jordan Peterson interview. Like everybody else, I'm sure everybody, 95% was the first video they saw. About his daughter that had arthritis and all that stuff, because my hands are still on fire, my feet are still on fire. Now I have a bum foot, and I have a rotatory cuff injury, which wasn't healing, wasn't healing at all, was the way it was. And my back, horrible. I used to put chairs, I went to physio, I did all that, but I'm still like a old man, like a 70-year-old man. If something falls on the ground, I think 3 times, Dave, to pick it up. 3 times, like literally. I'm like, is it worth it? Like, does it matter? Like, how much does it matter? You know? So, so I saw the video and it sparked my attention because I was like, her story is quite similar to mine. Like, maybe not arthritis, but alcohol neuropathy, panic, depression, many other symptoms that are mild, but I had it, eczema, you know, the things that are not major. I'm not even talking about them, to be honest. You know, so I was like, you know what? I did the vegan thing, I did the vegetarian thing, and nothing, actually. I just lost weight. I literally just lost weight. And I'm eating like basically a cow. I'm like, you know what? The first day I get back to Armenia, because it was set, I talked to my girlfriend, the situation stabilized and was coming back. The first day I get to Armenia, I'm going to do this carnivore thing, Dave. I'm going to do this carnivore thing. Okay? So this is what's cool. There was 5 days left. Remember, I left Lebanon and I came back to Lebanon. So my mom failed to mention me that she put a fan on the ceiling in the kitchen. Because when I went back to my house, I literally didn't leave my room. I was that depressed. I was just staying in my room. So the last week, I went to the kitchen. My mom wanted something because she needed help with something with the person. And I raised my hand while I was talking. And as soon as I raised my hand, the fan, blades, not like the plastic thing, like metal, in full speed, bam, hit my hand. By the way, this is a very, I'm trying my best not to make the stories bigger than they are, but this is a very important part. So my hand goes this way. I look at my hand. My finger is basically kind of dangling. I can see my bone, you know, and I cut both actually. You can see, I think, in the camera. Where's the camera? Can you see? Can you see it? Here? Sorry, here? I think you can see it. I think it's visible. So, bam! And I can move my finger. It's like this big now. And it's just blood and white stuff. And my mom goes to panic again. I'm like, Mom, calm down. You know, if you freak, I'm going to freak. Just calm down. Anywho, I couldn't move it, everything. I went to the doctor. And the doctor told me that first of all, you're lucky that your finger didn't completely detach from the place. Because he told me it was this close, especially this one. Because the first finger was this, then it hit the second one, you know, as it was going away. I'm like, okay, great. That I can see that it's still there. But what are we going to do? He said, there's only one thing. There's nothing else you can do. You have to tie your hand for about 3 months. And then after you open your hand, you have to do 4 months of physio for your hand to be like 80% the same. But he told me it's never going to be the same. And this was like 5 days before I had to leave, or a week before I had to leave. So I mustered my zen, you know, because I was practicing breathing, cold showers, you know, doing all that jazz, you know, spiritual side, walking on the dirt. And, you know, Dave, I was trying everything. Nobody understands how much I was trying. Every fucking thing. Wim Hof, you know, I know maybe you know Wim Hof breathing, to muster up the concentration to be like, it's okay. Okay, let's move on. Anyway, by the way, one thing, maybe the veganism or my complete lack of junk food helped. From the day that my father died, which was at this time was like 3 years ago from this moment, I never got sick. I never got sick. Like not a hapchu, nothing. As soon as I stopped alcohol and basically stopped junk food, because this is not a bash on veganism. I'm saying as it is, you know. So it's as soon as I stopped alcohol and junk food, I never got sick again. So that's that. But because I knew that when I'm coming here, I'm just gonna eat meat, and because when I make a thing, I do it. The last 3 days, Dave, pasta, pizza, you know, everything with dough, like everything, beer, everything, pasta, pizza, macaroni, and in Lebanon, there's much more stuff with dough, trust me, you know, like everything, breakfast, dinner, lunch, 3 days in a row. And guess what, Dave? For the first time in 3 years, I got sick. I got sick the night that I was going to leave to Armenia. Okay? So now I'm sick, and I'm not correlating yet, by the way. I'm not even thinking that the bread and the dough and the carbs that I ate extensively made me sick. So I'm just in my hand, I go to Armenia, and just like I promised Dave, I start. Okay? I can tell you 95% meat, 3% potatoes, because this is where the story starts, by the way. I know this was an intro to get to the carnivore part, but it's important to know that it wasn't I tried everything before this. So 95% meat, about 3% potato, because I like potato, and a bit of onions and mushroom, as in food. But I was eating spices, you know, black pepper, white pepper, red pepper. I'm a spicy dude. I like red pepper a lot. You know, like me and my friend, the friend that I had, my bandmate, was African by origin, so he ate like the craziest shit. So yeah, so those and coffee, tea. So this was my starter package, if you want, like the first day. The first thing I realized that the first week that I had much more energy after the crashes, right? I've researched everything, so I'm ready. I know that in the beginning, you're going to have some insomnia, some crashes, maybe constipation, maybe diarrhea. So I was mentally ready for this stuff. So 5, 6 days, 7 days, 10 days later, after that was all kind of done, I got this surge of energy that has been a while that I haven't felt. That was the first one. I'm like, maybe I'm making this up, you know, maybe I'm trying to believe something I'm not. You know? Oh, I'm like, okay, fine. And I continued. I never cared. I was like, you know what? I'm in this. If I die from a heart attack, so be it, because I was going to kill myself anyways. So if that happens, then what? So I just marched on. But when was the interesting part that I wanted the viewers to know? This is one of the extra informations. Is that in 2 months, remember, I was to get this out and then start physiotherapy. So by the way, I need to work my music, and it's all on the mouse. It's all on the screen. And I can't use this hand for 2 months. So I was going crazy. You know, my patience was zero. My girlfriend's like, stay patient. It's gonna come, dear. You know, you're gonna work on your music. It's gonna be fine. And I'm like, baby, but 2 months opened, and I have to do physiotherapy for 3 months. I can't waste this much time. I've wasted already 35 years of my life. You know, and I can't. But the meat thing helped, I'm sure, because I was kind of stable. I'm sure I had to freak out much more, as in like patience-wise. Anywho, I took it out. I'm excited. I'm like, okay, checkpoint is done. I called the doctor, and the doctor was like, no, most probably, you can't move it, obviously. So start physio for 3-4 months and then call me. I was a bit busy with some stuff with my mother, so I scheduled it 5 days later to start physio. The next day I woke up. Yes, it was difficult, but it was moving. I didn't make much of it. Another day passed by. I was like, what's going on? It's like it's moving. It's still difficult. Like there's still like a barrier that's not allowing it, but it's moving. Dave, in 1 week, my hand was doing like this with almost 95% no pain. And I was just looking at my hand in awe. I was doing this, and I was like, 4 months of physiotherapy, and he was giving me like, maybe it will be 80% of what it was, and all that stuff. And in 4 days, I'm just doing like this. And I literally started working on the mouse. I was like, oh, okay. Go back to work. My girlfriend couldn't believe it. And I was in total shock. And I still didn't correlate it. I was sitting there, I'm like, even if the doctor, let's say, misdiagnosed, he couldn't misdiagnose it by 3 months, 4 months, maybe a month, maybe he didn't need that much physio, he was trying to be safe. Sure. So, but not like this, not like you open it and 5 days later, it's just almost the same. So I was like, what happened? And then it hit me. It was so basic, but when you're in the midst of it, it's difficult to think. It hit me. The meat. I've been eating meat for the last, basically beef for the last, 2 months, hardcore. Like, I'm a meater, huh? I eat like 600 grams per day beef, so, and like 8-10 eggs in the morning. So and I'm like, it's the beef, bro, it's the beef. And why that was important, because maybe if this didn't happen, I wouldn't stay motivated to continue, to see the other results. So when this happened, I was like, this is done. We're getting to paradise, baby. Let's do this, beef, baby. And then, I started become this, basically something like you, like I become this beef preacher, cow is the Lord, go, and, and the neighbor, the grocery store person, I hope you eat your beef today, sir. Stay healthy, what I mean? Like, full on beef, like logo, tattoo, bring cow pictures everywhere. So a bit of time passed by. My leg that was still numb and painful, gone. Now I'm going faster because now the peak of the story is done. So this, sometimes, I'm being honest, sometimes maybe every 20 days, there's like this weird pinch or something, but like pain and like stable pain, gone. My leg, sorry, I'm going to show you my feet. I move it as I please, like nothing's there. That's one. Another one that, I'm sorry, but it's kind of important because a friend is going through the same. I literally saw him yesterday and I told him, I had like this big amount of access. I don't know what it's not a hernia, but it's like a fat in your asshole, like this big. It's like this white liquid that comes out and stays there and nothing can come. When I was in Lebanon, I started and I went to the doctor and was like, what is this? It's like, yeah, sometimes the body does this. That was his explanation. I swear. I swear. It was in Arabic. It wasn't in English, but he literally said, yeah, sometimes the body does this. And for the next, when I was in Lebanon, so the 4 months I was carnivore, basically, I used to sit like this, I used to sit like that, and because it was this big, and it's like this weird thing that scratches on your skin and it's huge and you need surgery to get it out. But I was like, I'm not gonna do this right now because I don't have time, because I was going to Armenia. That disappeared. One day I woke up, Dave, it wasn't there. Okay. By God, nobody know. I don't even know if it was the meat, honestly. But it was just one day I woke up, it was there for 2 years. And suddenly it wasn't there. No, I have gone. And my friend yesterday, who ironically has a vegan place, has a vegan place, has the same condition. And I was telling him, bro, I ate meat and it went away. And he was like, you know what? He's not a vegan. He has a vegan place. So he was like, you know what? Maybe I should do it. I'm like, well, that's my story. That's another one. The pains and the needle and stuff, I don't remember them anymore. That's completely gone. That's like it's not there anymore. My back. Okay, this is another one. I'm sure most of the viewers are like above 18, so this is not like a big thing. So when I used to have sex with my girlfriend, after the sex, my back, the place where the herniated disc is, used to kill me for about 10 days. Kill me to a point where sometimes I used to get scared of having sex with my girlfriend. Like, you know, do I want to feel that for the next 10 days? You know, when I start eating meat, 20 minutes, maybe a day, like one sleep cycle, and it goes back to normal. But back then, when I was a vegetarian and stuff, 10 days of agony. 10 days. Now it ranges, sometimes more, sometimes less, sometimes like 20 minutes, 1 hour, or like a full day, like one cycle of sleep. The next day I wake up, I'm dandy. That also was interesting as can be. Just gone. Weird. Sorry, because there's another interesting one. Okay, so as you can see, I'm this hyper person. You know, I'm a hyper guy. You know, the social guy, the hyper guy, always was. So since I was maybe 6 or 7, I was diagnosed with ADD and ADHD, and that was my obstacle my entire life. Like when I used to study with drinking, you know, to like calm me down so I can focus. You know, everything usually I used to do when it needs intense concentration, I used to drink like 2-3 cups of whiskey so I can just like, you know, like zone in, not go a lot of places. I play this game called Dota. It's the League of Legends, but not for Americans. It's a very highly, it's one of the biggest games in the world. There's billions and millions of dollars in it. But I play it for fun, obviously. But there's a competitive scene with like big tournaments and stuff. This game is one of the select games that it needs a lot of concentration. Like it's 50 minutes can pass by in a second because you're so focused. It's second to second thing. So I'm good at the game. I'm not bad. But one day, we're in 7 months down. By the way, I'm 10 months in now. So we were 7 months in. And I'm playing that game. And I'm like, why is the game slower? Like, I feel the game is easier. Like, my reflex, the things are moving. I can actually see, coordinate. The game was so much easier than yesterday and a week before and two years before. I'm like, did I get so much better in 4 days? It's not possible. I thought nothing of it. I'm like, maybe today I'm playing good. Maybe I'm in a good vibe. I slept. The next day, I played the game again because that's my release. Like I do like 6 hours of music. I play one game, you know, to change vibes, and then another 6. So I was playing again, and I was like, it's like so mechanical. I literally. It's like a medal. It's like a medal. Let's say 10 is the most medal. For 10 years, I was 2 medals. Okay, for 10 years. In 2 weeks, I went to the 5th medal. It can't be possible that from 2 to 5, I did it in 2 weeks. In 2 medals, 10 years, I was there. Then my girlfriend came one day, and you know, when your girlfriend comes back from work, she's gonna work, people, blah, 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 you know. And most of the time, I don't hear her, and she knows it, you know, because my brain can't focus in one place. Like, I'm thinking about the moon, I'm thinking about my son, I'm thinking about turtles in the ocean. And she was talking to me, and, you know, and I was like, wait a second. I can actually hear what she's saying. And then I literally told her, stop. She stopped, and I was like, baby, I remember this day because it wasn't far long ago. It was like a month and a half, 2 months ago. I was like, baby, I think I don't have ADD anymore. That's why the daughter was like that. That's why. And it is true. I'm not saying it's not there anymore, but a good 85%, I focus. I'm not in a rush. My mood levels are much more. My sleeping patterns are getting better. By the way, the anxiety thing never stopped. Every day before I go to sleep, I have like anxiety for a good half an hour. This has been constant, even when I was eating meat, but it was getting less and less and less and less. Like before, I used to have a manic anxiety, like let's say 4 times a week. Now I'm having once every 2 weeks. Getting less and less and less and less. But I'm still having it. I'm a very honest person. But less. Eczema in my leg. Here. It always scratched. I used to go and take a shower. It itched crazy. Now it still itches. Much less. Maybe half a minute. Before it used to itch for like half an hour. You know? So basically either things went away completely or everything went away for like a good 70% efficacy. Even another thing, I had kidney stones. And the kidney stones disappeared. The doctor didn't understand what happened. I had kidney stones
without any pain.
Yeah, zero. Like I was having pain in Lebanon with kidney stones. I went to the doctor. I had allergies, migraines, heavy migraines and stuff. This is the vegan. By the way, I never had migraines before. The migraines started after the vegetarian thing. I never had migraines before. Like pre-alcohol, post-alcohol, I never had migraines. But the end of Lebanon, like the last 3 months of Lebanon in my vegan vegetarian life, migraines, kidney pain, kidney stones. I went to the doctor. This is what I'm telling you, I was going crazy because like how all these just popped up from nowhere. When I was an alcoholic and eating the standard diet before my back, I had nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then you can say maybe your father died. It was, by the way, a lot of people died. I stopped that story because it was very upsetting. My aunt, my dad's best friend, all they died in a single month. My aunt died from cancer. My dad's best friend died from renal failure. My dad's cousin, uncle just passed away. He was old, so there was a month of just, like complete anarchy that time. So I was like, maybe the trauma, maybe the sadness started all these, like unlocked something, but it never made sense to me like that much, So anyways, everything got better. And now basically the only my spices are so down, almost nothing. Occasionally some cayenne. There are only 3 things I do that are not regulated is coffee. I still drink coffee. I was never a sugar eater to begin with. Like even when I was doing vegetarianism, I had difficulty eating fruit. Like I don't like fruit. I never did. It was always forced upon me. I don't like sweet. I don't like the taste of sweet. It never. It was never pleasing. Even the fruits I ate were sour. Like orange when it's sour, apple when it's sour, that kind of stuff. So coffee with no sugar, obviously. I have chamomile tea. I can't handle any other tea for some reason. I don't know why. Which doesn't make any sense because I used to drink like 17 coffees and 48 teas in college and be like completely fine. Now if I have green tea, I don't know, I get aggravated. I have no idea why. But so I have chamomile tea, I have coffee, and I smoke cigarettes. But I smoke like tobacco that you roll. The village kind, not the ones that are branded.
So how are you eating day to day? You said about 600 grams of beef. So are you
Yeah,
eating once, twice?
I eat when I wake up, Sir Dave. I eat 8 eggs with butter, cheese. Sometimes I put, oh, by the way, like I told you, eggs is my favorite thing in the world. So I can mix with eggs anything. So be ready for what I'm about to say. Sometimes eggs with calmar, the fish, the calamari, the thingy. So I cut like fresh calamari and I put it in and I fry it with the eggs. Or sometimes oysters, mussel, the other with the eggs. And it's delicious, by the way. I love it. So basically, some kind of fish with the eggs, basically like some kind of sea creature with the eggs. 8 to 12 eggs, depending on how hungry I am. And then this is around like 11. And then like 5, 6-ish, something like that. I make burger patties because ground beef is cheap. Sometimes I get cuts, but hopefully when we make more money, we'll get those because those are more expensive, especially here. But most of the time it's ground beef. And in Armenia, what's accessible and okay pricing is pork. So a week once or twice I eat pork, and the other 5 days I eat ground beef. And if I have money, I get the like finer cuts. So I make burger patties. That's basically it. I make burger patties. I put cheese on it, and I eat like, I don't know, 12 or 14 of them. And
Is your
wait,
girlfriend carnivore?
I have made her cry so many times. You know how guilty I feel because she's going through stuff and she's going through anxiety and stuff. And I'm like, baby, just eat meat. I'm your example. How I was, and now I'm 75% better in 8 to 10 months. You know what I mean? I'm your example. But she loves her fruits. It's impossible. I can't. I'm trying. Can't get her to stop eating oranges and strawberry and banana and like literally she eats fruits as food, not like even a sweet thing. She eats it like like a pack of food, like 200 grams of strawberry, 2 bananas, 2 apples. I'm like, come on, baby. Like, I'm trying, but she's eating more meat. That's for sure. She knows that much. Okay, let me put it this way. She knows that meat is not the enemy. Because most people are brainwashed, right? That fat and meat is the enemy. So she knows that meat is not the enemy, at least. So now she eats with me beef. We get, pork chops and all that stuff, and we dive in. But she's gonna have her fruits. I can't. There's no way of me stopping that. I've been trying.
So yeah, as you say, at least she's understanding that beef is not the enemy. So that's 50% of the way there.
Yeah, no, she's doing that. She's definitely doing that. We go out, we go for ribs, we go before everything was like bread and dough and like tomato sauce on the thingy. Like that was her kind of diet, and she has hormonal problems like the thyroid. Like she has weight for no reason because there's this hormonal imbalance. So what's it called? PSOS, HPS. I don't know, some weird name. Hashimoto's. I don't know.
Hashimoto's. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So there's this added weight on her for no reason. She barely eats food. Like if somebody sees what I eat and how much. Oh, by the way, another thing for the people who care about weight, but that was never my situation. I went from 68 when I started to eat meat. I was frail and dying. To 78. Okay. And
so you put on 10 kilos.
Yes, and I've been 78 ever since. That's what's so interesting. Every day I wake up, I do it just for fun. I go on the weight scale because there was this part where I couldn't believe it anymore. I was like, how many kilos I am? I'm 78. Okay. So today I'm going to eat 10 eggs and more beef. I do that for 4 days. I go on the scale, I'm 78. You know, I get more cheese. I eat like a bucket of yogurt and everything. I get on the scale. I'm 78 to the point where I start becoming paranoid. I'm like, maybe the scale is broken. So I was like, baby, can you go on the scale to see if you're 78 too? You know what I mean? So it turns out it's not broken. But since I got to 78, whatever I do, I am 78. Like whatever I do. I eat more condensed dairy, butter. By the way, every day I wake up, I eat here. I told you it's accessible. Pig fat, lard. Here they make it tasty. They iodize it with salt, and it becomes this thing. So I cut it and I eat it like candy. It's almost like a candy for me in the morning. Actually, do you want me to show you? I can bring it. You want me to show you? So this is sal. This is sal. This is basically pig fat, you know, with black pepper, sometimes red pepper, and salt. This is literally pig fat. I cut it into thin slices.
Wow.
And it's delicious. It's delicious.
Wow.
It's delicious.
So you don't cook it. You don't cook it. You just eat it raw.
Yeah, you can cook it if you want to use it for your eggs as oil. You can, but just like butter, you can eat it cold, which is this state. Okay. Wow. You know what I mean? You can eat it cold, which is this state, and it's delicious. It's like basically, in my guess, it's like carnivore donut. This is carnivore donut. It's the same. It's better than donuts.
Nice.
So yeah, and I'm still 78.
So, based on your experience, how would you recommend the carnivore diet or the carnivore way of eating to other people?
It's the best you will ever feel in every aspect, and this is not because I give a crap about anything. I'm actually saying this very selfishly. It's not, I don't care if the cows win or the trees win or the Zukapamba wins. You know, like I don't have any, you know, like I don't really care. If you come and tell me that you have to quack like a duck in the mornings to feel better, I would have tried. You know what I'm trying to say? I have no affiliation or like, oh no, you know, this way of living, that way of living. I did them all. I went spiritual. I went vegan, vegetarian. You know, I went standard. I went omnivore. I went jock. I broke my back, but I went jock. I literally tried them all to find some peace and some energy and some healing to all my injuries that I've accumulated because of my alcoholic and traumatized past. And basically none of them worked except this. And we're only 9-10 months in. There's people that have been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years. I'm so jealous. You know, so like constipation or anything normal, I go to the bathroom very normally. Another one is bloating, or like when I eat half a kilo of food, it just disappears, which I'd never understand it. It just goes in and it just disappears. You know, like I don't even know if it's physically actually there. You know, just like vanishes. So I don't know what you need, man. You know, like if I'm going to advertise it to somebody, like, what do you want? You know what I mean? You feel better, you digest better, you sleep better, you walk better. Sorry to say, you fuck better. You know, because your body, the blood in your thing is, you know, more energetic and more. Everything becomes better. Your skin. My girlfriend's like, oh baby, you have so much nice skin now. You know, like you don't know yourself if you have nice skin, but if your girlfriend tells you, you're like, that might be the meat because she didn't tell me this last year. You know, so I don't know. I don't know what the people want. You know?
Nice. Yeah, no, that's good. So, Hovannes, is there a way that people can reach out to you? Do you have a website or social media?
Well, Dave, since I'm a musician, I have Pumpkin Rain on YouTube. That is me. And it's going to be, by the way, I want to do this video first because I want obviously there's no competition or anything, but I'm a musically kind of guy. But I also wanted some of the YouTube channel to be about carnivore, because honestly, I don't want anybody to go what I went through. Like whatever I felt, the suffering that I felt, like I literally don't want anybody to have that. I just don't want it. You know, like it's not a human thing. It's not a human state or feeling to have. And there's a lot of people like that out there, which feel like they're just decomposing. You know, the kids, the old people, and I don't want to I don't want to live in a world like that. I really do. I just want people to be happy. I really do, because the more they're happy, I'm happy. It's as simple as that. So pumpkin, the thing, but it's just because of cool the feeling. Pumpkin Rain, YouTube, and pumpkinrain.com is me and my friend's film score website. So you can go and check there the music that we do for films and series and advertisement and etc. So basically my carnivore dream and my music dream. So that's kind of it.
Awesome. I'll link to both of those below in the show notes. And Hovannes, it's so good to hear you're doing well, and I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Likewise, Dave. Thank you very much.